Now, let's go back overseas now, and Russia's vowing revenge against Ukraine after that weekend explosion that crippled what was supposed to be a heavily guarded bridge connecting Crimea to the Russian mainland. The bridge was a signature project for Vladimir Putin after the peninsula was annexed 8 years ago, and the bridge has provided a critical supply line to Russian troops invading Ukraine. Here's the latest from Sky News UK.
A massive explosion tearing one section of the bridge apart early Saturday morning, one day after Vladimir Putin's 70th birthday. Blaming terrorism gives Russia's president a possible way out rather than escalating against Ukraine. But this bridge was dear to him, a symbol of the reclaiming of Crimea 8 years ago, built by one of his old pals, Arkady Rotenberg, at huge expense. A key piece of infrastructure waiting to be hit. And these astonishing images will reverberate across Russia, a sign, if ever there was one, that his special military operation is having unintended consequences.
Earlier, I caught up with Vasyl Myroshnychenko, who started asking whether Ukraine is dreading a revenge attack from Russia. He's the Ukrainian ambassador to Australia.
That bridge was a major logistical connection and supply route for the Russian military and equipment and weapons out to southern part of Ukraine and all the Azov Sea, which Russians are now have occupied. So that was a strategic asset that had to be taken down. And of course, that bridge is a symbol of Russian empire. Vladimir Putin was involved personally into the opening of the bridge in 2018. He rode a truck through the bridge. And of course, it was a symbol of Russian reunification or annexation, illegal annexation of Crimea. So hence, I'm not surprised by that reaction. But it's very cynical of Putin to be talking about terrorist acts at the same time as Russians have actually destroyed and razed many Ukrainian cities, which led to over 15 million people who are internally displaced or had to flee the country. They have deliberately been targeting civilian infrastructure. And just on Sunday morning, they've hit the residential building in Zaporizhia, which killed at least 17 people, and many got wounded, including children. So it's, of course, very cynical of Putin to be talking about terrorist acts at the same time Russia has been waging this war for the past over 7 months, but also this war has lasted already 8 years.
No doubt it is extraordinary to see Vladimir Putin crying foul, talking about terrorism when he's in fact invaded your country. But the fact remains that he has taken the destruction of this bridge very much to heart, as have other Russian military leaders, and they are promising vengeance. You must be wary about what might befall some key Ukrainian cities in the coming hours and days.
Look, there is not much we can get scared with, I think. We have overcome that feeling of fear, because if we got scared, we'd probably not be able to resist. And the Russians would probably take us in 3 days, as everybody predicted. But I think that's an ability to overcome fear. That's an ability to demonstrate leadership and resilience, and actually motivation of Ukrainians to fight back, to repel the Russians and restore Ukraine's sovereignty. And this is what is out there. And it's very important. Of course, revenge is going to be coming, because for Putin, it was very personally. As you know, the bridge was hit on his 70th birthday. So that was his big birthday, which was ruined because his bridge, which he was so proud of, got destroyed. But that was a strategic route for weapons, which had to be stopped. And that was of strategic importance for us.
All right, you mentioned the strategic importance of the bridge. We understand that. But of course, Crimea was annexed 8 years ago. It's not part of the current invasion, if you like, the current battle, even though, of course, you've never ceded Crimea. But the point being that by attacking that bridge, it's only one step away from actually attacking the Russian mainland. Is this a significant escalation of the war from the Ukrainian point of view?
Well, that's actually our asymmetric response to the Russian invasion. And I don't agree with you that Crimea is not involved. Crimea is heavily involved because many of the Russian troops, they go from Crimea into Kherson and other parts of Ukraine. That's all the support of the Black Sea Navy. It's of strategic importance for Russia as the route for supplies. And therefore, and Crimea is Ukrainian. Nobody recognized Crimea's resignation, Crimea's annexation, illegal annexation, which happened. That's what's happening. And look, you just have to look what Russians have been doing for the past 7 months and how much of a damage that has been done to Ukraine's civilian infrastructure, how many civilians got killed, and of course we are fighting back, and that's the price that Putin has to pay, and we won't stop until we repel all the Russians and liberate the land.
Okay, Ambassador, just tell me briefly what your thoughts are regarding Australia's contribution. There have been more requests for military support and humanitarian support from Australia, including more Bushmasters. Are you expecting any more announcements from the Australian government soon?
President Zelensky addressed Lowy Institute last week, and he talked and addressed Australian public directly through the think tank. And he mentioned that Australia is one of the top 10 countries in the world which is supplying military assistance to Ukraine, for which we're extremely thankful and really appreciate it. We made a request for more artillery, more ammunition, more Bushmasters. I understand it's now being considered by the Australian government. Whatever that could be sent to Ukraine, we'll be extremely grateful because that's a war we are fighting for all of us. We are out there defending democracy, defending human rights, defending freedom, all those values which are so dear to every Australian.
Ambassador, thanks again for your time.
Thank you.